What happens when one of Hollywood's biggest stars sits down for what should be a simple morning chat, only to face such shocking disrespect that he does the unthinkable and walks off set, live, in front of millions of viewers? In just 38 seconds of one particular exchange, Michael Strahan's career took a hit he never saw coming. That morning, Samuel L. Jackson arrived at the Good Morning America studio expecting nothing more than a friendly, professional interview. He was there to talk about his latest project, share a few laughs, and connect with the audience that had supported him for decades. What he got instead was something no one expected. The interview began normally. Samuel sat down on the bright yellow couch, surrounded by the panel. Michael Strahan was seated directly across from him, with Robin Roberts to his left and George Stephanopoulos on the far end. The cameras were rolling, the studio lights were bright, and the audience was ready. Everything seemed fine until the first question. "So, Samuel, great to have you here," Michael began casually. "Let's jump right in. Your new movie has a lot of action, a lot of explosions. At your age, how much longer can you really keep doing these physical roles?" The studio went quiet. Robin's smile faded. George shifted uneasily in his seat. Samuel paused, his expression changing from friendly to guarded in an instant. "My age?" Samuel repeated, his voice calm but sharp. "I'm not sure what my age has to do with anything, Michael. I'm in better shape than most people half my years. Michael laughed, but it was a forced laugh. The kind that only made things worse. "Come on, you know what I mean," he said, smirking. "You're not exactly a spring chicken anymore. I'm just saying, at some point, don't you think it's time to pass the torch to younger actors?" Robin stepped in quickly, her tone gentle but firm. "Michael, I think what we are really asking is how Samuel manages to keep his incredible energy and dedication to his craft." But Michael wasn't letting go. He leaned forward, his smile still condescending. "No, Robin, I'm asking a real question. Samuel's been doing this for what, 40 years? 50? At what point do you look in the mirror and think, maybe it's time to retire?" Samuel's jaw tightened. His composure was slipping, not because he was angry, but because he was clearly hurt by the disrespect. "First of all," Samuel said steadily, "I've been acting professionally for over 4 decades, yes. And in that time, I have felt career based on talent, discipline, and respect for the craft. Something you might want to learn about before you sit in that chair and question someone's value based on their age." The audience gasped. Robin looked shocked. George looked like he wanted to crawl under the desk. But unbelievably, Michael still didn't stop. "Whoa, whoa, whoa," Michael said, raising his hands defensively. "I'm just asking questions here. Isn't that what journalists do? Or are you too sensitive to handle a little honest conversation?" Robin shook her head, visibly frustrated. "Michael, that's not fair. Samuel is our guest and he deserves respect." I am giving him respect," Michael insisted. "I'm treating him like an adult who can handle tough questions. Maybe that's the problem. Maybe people have treated him with kid gloves for so long that he can't handle real talk anymore. That was it. Samuel stood up, not abruptly, but slowly, deliberately. He unclipped his microphone with calm, steady hands, his face set in controlled anger. Real talk, he said quietly but firmly. You want real talk, Michael? Real journalists don't ambush their guests. Real professionals know the difference between asking hard questions and being flat out disrespectful. Michael scoffed. Oh, here we go. The celebrity can't handle a little pushback. So he throws a tantrum and walks off. Real mature, Samuel. Michael, stop, George said sharply. But it was too late. The damage had been done. Samuel placed his microphone gently on the coffee table. The thud echoed through the silent studio. You know what the sad part is? I came here today to talk about something I love, my work, to connect with fans who have supported me for decades. But instead, I get ambushed by someone who clearly has an agenda. Robin stood up, her face full of concern. Samuel, please, on behalf of the show, I apologize. This isn't what we want. I know, Robin, Samuel said, softening slightly, and I appreciate that. But I'm not going to sit here and be disrespected on national television. I've earned better than that. Michael leaned back in his chair, arms crossed. That smug grin, that smug grin still on his face. So you are really going to walk off? You're proving my point. You can't handle pressure. Samuel turned back to him, calm but commanding. The only thing I'm proving, he said, is that I respect myself too much to entertain nonsense. You think this is pressure, Michael? I have performed on stages around the world. I worked with the greatest dictators in cinema. I've built a legacy that will last long after both of us are gone. This, he gestured around the studio. This isn't pressure. This is just sad. The audience began clapping. First a few, then the entire studio. Michael's face turned red. His smirk disappeared. Oh, great, he muttered sarcastically. Everyone applaud the guy who can't finish an interview. That makes sense. Michael, enough, George said sharply. But Michael kept talking. What? I am the bad guy now? Because I do not kiss his feet like everyone else does? Samuel was already walking toward the exit, but stopped and turned one last time. You know what your problem is, Michael? He said. You confuse being confrontational with being intelligent. You think tearing people down makes you look strong, but all it really shows is who you are. Robin looked devastated. Samuel, please, can we talk about this? Samuel paused near the edge of the set, turning toward Robin, but not toward Michael. Robin, you have always been a class act. George, same to you, but I can't be part of this. I won't be part of this. Michael stood now, visibly angry. Fine, leave then. We don't need you anyway. There are plenty of other actors who would love to be here. Samuel nodded calmly. Then invite them. I'm sure they will enjoy your version of hospitality. The camera crew froze. Some kept filming, Others lowered their cameras. Producers in the booth scrambled, whispering instructions and trying to salvage the chaos. It was live television, falling apart in real time. George tried one last time. Samuel, we value you being here. Michael's approach was wrong. Can we reset and start again? I appreciate that, George, Samuel said, but some things you can't reset. Some words once spoken can't be taken back. Michael actually laughed. Oh, please. You Hollywood types are all the same. You demand respect but don't give it. You want everyone to worship you, but the second someone treats you like a normal person, you fall apart. Even Robin had reached her limit. Michael, stop talking, she said firmly, right now. But Michael kept going. Why should I stop? Because I'm telling the truth? This is exactly what's wrong with celebrity culture. They can't handle honesty. Samuel didn't turn back. He simply walked out. That's right. Walk away, Michael called after him. Show everyone you can't dish it out in movies, but can't take it in real life. Show everyone you can dish it out in movies, but can't take it in real life. Robin actually stepped in front of Michael, physically blocking him. Stop, you're making this worse. The audience was silent. The tension was so thick you could feel it through the screen. George finally stood and looked directly into the camera. We are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back. But before the cut, Michael muttered, He don't need a break. We don't need a break. Let's talk about what really happened here. Let's talk about how entitled celebrities think they can control every conversation. Robin turned on him, furious now. Michael, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? Michael shrugged. I'm doing my job. I'm asking questions. Isn't that what we are supposed to do? George shook his head. There is a difference between asking tough questions and being hostile. Michael, what you did was hostile. I was hostile, Michael snapped. I was honest. There is a difference. A producer's voice came from off camera. We are going to commercial in 5, 4, 3. But it was too late. The moment had already become one of the most uncomfortable scenes in live television history. Samuel L. Jackson had walked off the set of Good Morning America. As the show cut to commercial, the tension in the studio was unbearable. Michael sat stiffly in his chair, his jaw tight, his eyes flashing with frustration. Robin and George exchanged looks, both of them clearly shaken by what had just happened. When the cameras went dark, Robin leaned toward Michael, her voice low but firm. What were you thinking? What was going through your head? Michael shrugged, avoiding her eyes. I was thinking we should treat celebrities like everyone else. Honest questions shouldn't be off limits just because someone's famous. George joined in, his tone sharp and controlled. Michael, there is a way to ask challenging questions without tearing people down. You know that. You've been doing this long enough to know that. Michael spread his hands, looking frustrated. So I am the villain now? The bad guy because I didn't fawn all over him? Robin exhaled, rubbing her temples. You're missing the point entirely. This wasn't about flattery. It was about basic respect, basic human decency, basic human decency, basic decency. Michael scoffed. He's the one who walked off. He couldn't handle a conversation. The stage manager counted down. The stage manager counted down to live airtime. The commercial break was ending. But the mood was heavier than ever. George looked at Michael one last time. When we come back, he said quietly, you're not speaking, Robin, Robin and I will handle the rest of the show. You're done for today. Michael's eyes widened in disbelief. You're benching me on my own show? It's not your show, Robin said quietly. It's ours, all of ours. And right now, you need to sit there and be quiet. The red light on the camera blinked on again. Robin and George smiled professionally into the lens, though anyone watching could see the tension behind their expressions. Welcome back, Robin began, her voice steady but heavy with emotion. As you can see, we have had an unexpected turn of events. This morning, Samuel L. Jackson has left the interview, and we want to address that. George nodded. Here at Good Morning America, we pride ourselves on respectful, engaging conversations with our guests. What happened earlier fell short of that standard, and for that, we sincerely apologize to Samuel and to our viewers. Michael sat silently between them, his jaw tight, his expression unreadable. He didn't speak a word. Robin continued, Samuel L. Jackson is not only an extraordinary actor, but a professional who has given decades to his craft. He has earned the respect of his peers and audiences around the world, and he deserved better today. The rest of the show went on, but the energy was gone. Every segment felt forced. Every smile was strained. Even the audience seemed subdued, unsure how to react after what they had witnessed live on national television. During the cooking segment, the guest chef looked nervous, glancing towards Michael every few seconds. The weather presenter hurried through his update, finishing quicker than usual just to get off camera. Through it all, Michael sat silently, arms crossed, staring at the floor. At one point, during another commercial break, he stood up and walked off set without saying a word. No one stopped him. Robin and George just exchanged weary glances, both of them visibly drained. When Michael eventually returned, he sat back down without making eye contact with anyone. The final segments dragged. Time moved painfully slow until finally, mercifully, the show reached its closing moments. Robin delivered the final lines, thanking viewers for watching and promising a great show tomorrow. George added a polite goodbye, his professional smile never quite reaching his eyes. Then the cameras went dark. The studio fell silent except for the rustle of the audience gathering their things. People whispered among themselves about what they had just seen. It wasn't every day that a Hollywood legend walked out of a live morning show. Michael got up immediately, ignoring the producers who tried to speak with him, and walked straight to his dressing room. Robin watched him go and shook her head slowly. What a disaster, she said under her breath. George nodded in disbelief. I have never seen anything like that. Not in all my years doing this. Around the studio, crew members packed up their equipment, moving slowly, still processing what had just happened. The air felt heavy, like everyone was walking through the aftermath of a storm. Meanwhile, inside his dressing room, Michael paced back and forth, his phone buzzing non-stop with messages, missed calls, and notifications. But he didn't check any of them. He just kept pacing, muttering about unfair treatment and how people were too sensitive these days. Across town, Samuel L. Jackson was already gone. He walked calmly out of the building, got into his car, and left without saying another word. No public statement, no tweet, no press release, just silence. He didn't need to explain anything. His dignity spoke for itself. Within minutes, the clip of the confrontation hit social media. Viewers who had watched live began posting their reactions, shock, disbelief, and overwhelming support for Samuel. Hashtags started trending almost immediately. Some defended Michael, arguing he was just doing his job, but the majority sided with Samuel. They saw what everyone in that studio had seen: a man being disrespected for no reason and handling it with class. By midday, the story had exploded across entertainment news outlets. Commentators, journalists, and fellow actors weighed in. Industry veterans called it one of the most uncomfortable moments in morning show history. Inside the network, emergency meetings began. Executives and producers were scrambling to control the damage. This wasn't just an awkward interview, it was a full-blown public relations crisis unfolding in real time. Robin sat in her dressing room, replaying the scene in her head, wishing she had stepped in sooner, wishing she had cut Michael off before things went too far. She knew logically that Michael's behavior wasn't her fault, but she still felt responsible. George, sitting alone at his desk, was equally distraught. He had worked for years to build Good Morning America's reputation for professionalism and trust, and in one morning he had watched that reputation take a serious blow. The thing about live television is simple. There are no second takes, no edits, no chance to undo what millions of people have already seen. Every word, every expression, every flash of emotion goes straight to the audience, unfiltered. Michael's outburst had been broadcast in crystal clear high definition, and now it was everywhere. As the hours passed, more voices joined the conversation. Fellow actors praised Samuel for keeping his composure, noting how he never lost his temper, never resorted to insults. Even when pushed, he stood his ground with dignity, and when he had had enough, he simply walked away. Many called it the mark of true professionalism, knowing when to stand up, when to walk away, and when not to give energy to something that doesn't deserve it. Others questioned what had driven Michael to act the way he did. Was it ego? Was it an attempt to seem edgy or authentic? Or was there some Or was there some or was there some personal issue or was there some personal issue that audience didn't know about? Whatever the reason, the result was the same. One of television's most respected morning shows had been thrown into chaos, and one of its hosts had crossed a line that couldn't easily be undone. Samuel L. Jackson had walked off Good Morning America, and Samuel L. Jackson had walked off Good Morning America, and the entire entertainment industry was still talking about it. In the days that followed, there would be statements, apologies, and endless media analysis, but none of that changed what had already happened. Because sometimes, in just a few explosive minutes, a simple interview can turn into a moment the world will never forget.